lot of people don't know this. My great-grandfather, he ran numbers and was in the gangster business. He controlled the south side of Chicago for a very long time. My mother was in a bad relationship with my brother's father. He ended up murdering her and killing himself. My brother was in the room when it happened. So originally I was defiant. I was like, hell no, we won't go. I took the chance.
Okay.
And I'm glad that I did it, you know. It was like a handoff from Chicago to Birmingham, and the rest is history.
Welcome back to the Off Script podcast. I'm trying to do better with this, but y'all know how I go. I get excited about anyone that is willing to come on the podcast, and today's guest is no exception. This young man, I call him a young man because I'm old, but this young man, dear friend of mine, fraternity brother of mine, and I like to do these intros. Y'all know how I go, but one of the more lasting things that I've learned from being around him is that you have more capacity to get more done than you realize, and you can't do too much, but if you can trust in your vision and what you want to get done and like what you have set out for yourself, you will get it done. And my guest today, Mr. Leon Parker, is the embodiment of that. So without further ado, I give you off script, Mr. Leon Parker.
Thank you. Let me just say how an honor it is to be on this podcast. I am a fan. I am a follower. I am a subscriber. You should do the same. But it is such an honor to be here this morning.
Thank you. No, Leon, thank you for that. And I appreciate your support of the podcast. And it's humbling and touching to know that people, A, listen, but B, like it. And you took your like or your approval of the podcast one step further and volunteered to be a guest. So it means a lot to me. I really appreciate it.
Anything for you, Ronnie Gatrey.
Man, don't do this. All right, Leon, I know who you are. I know some people watching and listening know who you are, but for the few that don't, and I mean few because you are a big deal, this is an opportunity for you to tell them in your own words who you are.
Absolutely. So I was raised on the south side of Chicago, born in the 80s, as the song says, but I was raised by my grandparents. My mother was in a bad relationship with my brother's father, bad domestic situation. He ended up murdering her and killing himself. My brother was in the room when it happened, which is why we think it contributed to him being deaf because of the gunshots. And so we ended up being raised by our maternal grandmother. I was with them until about third or fourth grade. Then I went off to military school from third grade through high school. I would come home on the weekends, kind of be with my family, and then kind of split that time up between my maternal grandmother and my paternal grandmother. And then, of course, the church. The church had a lot to do with raising me. Carter Temple, 7841 South Fall Bash, south side of Chicago. But my background in Chicago is long and deep. My family grew up there, was raised and reared there. But a lot of people don't know this. My great-grandfather, he ran numbers and was in the gangster business. He controlled the south side of Chicago for a very long time. His name was Blood. And during that time, like I said, he ran numbers and did other things, had car washes and businesses, as people say, washed the money. That's where he would take his earnings and wash them through the car wash. My grandmother used to tell me these stories all the time, and I didn't believe it until I started doing my own research on property. In the 70s and the 80s was unheard of for African Americans to be that successful. And so I took a liking to it because my grandmother was straight real estate in her career, in her business. And so I took a liking of that and had an opportunity to do my own research. And one of the things that I also did was interview her. She told me a lot of stories. And now I understand why I have the drive and what I do and all that. And so it's really moving to me. But yeah, my great grandfather, he was the guy, and so the story goes is he died of prostate cancer, and in the midst of him transitioning, he called my grandmother in, and he left her some money and left his girlfriend some money, and my grandmother took that money. She found the Lord, joined the Church of God in Christ, and the Lord led her to investing into real estate. She bought buildings across Chicago and became very successful as an African American woman, a very benevolent woman, a generous woman. And at 89 years old, she looks like she's 50, but she's enjoying life without a trouble in the world. So, that's kind of a brief background. But for me, I didn't have an opportunity to really know my mother. I didn't have a really opportunity to have a relationship with my father. And so that's where the church came in. There were men and women at my home church, Carter Temple, that really treated me like their children. And I found one particular individual in that of name of Bishop Henry M. Williamson. One day I was at a school assembly in my local elementary school, and he kept saying these powerful statements. Your mind is a pearl. You can learn anything in the world. Up with hope, down with dope. And I'm like, this old preacher man is rhyming. I like this. And so after the assembly, he came and invited me to church. And so that following Sunday, third grade, I woke up, snuck out of the house, walked 2 blocks to Carter Temple CME Church. And the people were looking at me like, what are you doing here? Where's your parents? And I walked straight up to the front row like I was an officer or a leader of the church, and I sat on the front row. After church, he came to me, he was like, where are your parents and all this? I said, well, you invited me to church, so I'm here. So I came, they got to know me, and from there, he really became like a father figure to me, which is how I got introduced to Miles College, how I got introduced to the CME Church. Many moons ago, when Dr. Albert Sloan was the president of Miles College, they would take the Miles College Choir on tour, and that really got my attention. I was like, whoa, Black excellence, education. And as he would go, salvation, education, liberation. Like, I'm really feeling this thing. Salvation, education, liberation. It's like a concoction for Black excellence.
I love that.
And so they would come, the choir would sing, Dr. Sloan or Reverend Beatty, they would preach and give words of encouragement. And I said, one day I'm going to go to Miles College. Years go by. I'm talking years, 3rd grade, 4th grade, years go by. And I had made up in my mind that I wanted to own a funeral home. And so before going to Miles, I had registered for mortuary science school. And at that time, my mentor ends up becoming a bishop in the CME Church. And he calls me and he's like, you're going to Miles College. We've already bought your ticket. They're waiting on you. Pack your bags. You're leaving in 2 days. And I'm like, no, I'm finna go make this money. Me and my best friend, he wanted to be a police officer. I said, I'm gonna be a mortician. So we had a thing. You kill him, I chill him. This is off the script, but
this is definitely off script, yes.
We used to have this thing, you kill him, I chill him. They're like, no, you're going to Miles College. And so when I got there, I was welcomed by the president. I was welcomed by Dr. George French, who ends up becoming the 15th president of Miles and now the president of Clark Atlanta University. And they treated me like family. And I've been in the South since 2005.
Wow. So just for context, you had no connection to Birmingham, Alabama at all before this conversation.
No connection, but fun fact, which is why I feel like Birmingham is home. My great-grandfather, who I was talking about earlier, owned property here, owned land here. So for me, Birmingham felt like home, and I never knew why until I did the research and kind of had those conversations with my grandmother.
Okay. Leon, you've already shared, like, at least for my count, 3 off-script moments, and we're just getting started. Like, this is prime for this podcast. Yeah. This is good. Yeah. One of the things I want to ask, though, in thinking about what you were wanting to do with mortuary science, and then abruptly getting this off-script moment and going to Miles. What did it, or where mentally did you start that process of saying, okay, I'm going to do this? Because like you had every right to be resistant. And also I want to share it's great to know that at that age you had an idea of what you wanted to do. But it's at this point, to me, as I'm consuming it, it was less about what you wanted and what someone else wanted. Walk me through the mindset.
So
Behind that.
originally I was defiant. I was like, hell no, we won't go.
Sure. I mean, I would have done the same.
But then I thought about it. I'm like, these people have been in my life since 3rd grade. And here I am, a high school graduate, completed military school, completed high school. And I'm like, I really trust these people. I trust what I now call my father in ministry. And so if he says this is an opportunity for me and he's providing the way, I'm going to try it. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll go. Well, the story goes that it worked out just fine.
Yeah, I would say so.
It worked out just fine. And Miles College has been a second home to me.
Man, I got to share this story because in getting to know you, like I assumed you were from here. But I don't know if I've ever told you this, but one of our preliminary meetings. No, I said this at your appreciation.
Yeah.
And one of our, I'll leave it at that. If you know, preliminary meetings, you showed up late. And they kept telling us, what you didn't know was beforehand, they were like, no, there's one more coming. And I thought the agenda was set already. And so I'm tripping like, man, we can't start the meeting until this last one comes. And then I remember asking someone like, well, who is this? Because I thought we were set. And they were like, Leon Parker. And I was like, who is that? And he was like, you don't know Leon?
I feel like you asked Elias.
No. This was Ed.
Okay.
Ed Harris. Okay. He was like, you don't know Leon Parker? And man, he went to looking you up. He pulled out, I'll never forget it. He pulled out his phone. He said, Leon's doing this. Leon's doing that. Leon is Miles College. And I was like, well, Miles College needs to hurry up because I'm ready to get this meeting started. But it was a testament to like the impact you made. And it impressed me as I got a chance to know you after that. Like, dude, you're not even from here. And you got here. And it's like, man, you took Birmingham and you were like, nah, I'm going to put some Chi-Town flavor on this thing. But more so, Birmingham is going to know who Leon Parker is. And I think that's a testament to like the character you have and the type of person you are. And I'm blessed to be affiliated with you. But I don't know if you want to speak to that or not. But
well, I tell people it took a while to get to where I am. As a student, I was actively engaged in the community with Birmingham. I started summer camps over in Pratt City called the Freedom School with the Children's Defense Fund, founded by Dr. Marion Wright Edelman out of Washington, D.C. I was part of political campaigns, some just to name Stephen Hoyt and others. Even as a student, I was selected as who's who in Alabama, who's who in Black Alabama. Did a lot of work with Larry Lakeford when he was the mayor of Fairfield and later became the mayor of Birmingham. So civic engagement, community engagement was at the forefront of my work. And so I think that helped kind of catapult me to doing a number of other things, even in ministry and even my work at Miles College.
Okay. Leon, as you know on this podcast, one of the things I like to talk about is fear. And I promise you, we're going to get on with the story. But I want to go back to that point to where you had 2 days to get to Miles College. Did you have any? I mean, this is essentially sight unseen, Leon.
Listen, I was scared. Outside of going to Selma with my grandparents, I was scared.
Yeah.
And even going down to Selma, it was always like for a family reunion or a funeral. So it was limited. And I would go down there several summers, but to be able to have an opportunity to go to Birmingham, Alabama, to go to college at the last minute with no family nearby, I was scared. But then something in the back of my mind was like, take the shot, take the opportunity. If God is for you, who could be against you? So I was just like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. And so I took the chance.
Okay.
And I'm glad that I did it. You know, it was like a handoff from Chicago to Birmingham. And the rest is history.
Okay. We're coming back to that because I got several questions I want to just expound on that, but we'll keep the story moving or the timeline moving. Okay, so you get to Miles. What is it like? I love
Miles,
hearing other people's.
I was culturally shocked. First of all, what I've known church to be was totally different. I thought all churches was Carter Temple, 3,000 members, radio syndication, television syndication, 2 services. So first of all, my spiritual journey, I was in a shock. I would get down there and see 30, 40 people in church, stomping their feet, clapping their hands, washboard tambourine. I'm just like, oh, Lord, what did I get myself into? Lord, help me. So that was one side of it. Then the other part was me coming into a space where I knew no one but the president, the vice president, and the choir director, Dr. Bernard Williams. Rest in peace. And so I think, for me, going into a new space, I was totally shocked. But then my personality allowed me to kind of get to know people, and so I kind of took off from there. I was not the best student. I graduated high school with a 3.8, but when I got to college and had that sense of freedom, I went wild. You know how they say girls going wild?
Yeah.
I went wild.
Okay.
But I had people in my corner like, hey, this is college, but you need to get it together and get it together quickly. And so, I thank people, again, like President French, Dr. Sloan, President Sloan, Reverend Larry Beatty, all these guys were like, hey, you have a purpose, and we are here to make sure that you get what you're supposed to get out of Miles College, but to go on and do greater things.
Yeah.
So, while I'm at Miles College, I had an opportunity to intern in all of the administrative offices. So by the time I graduated, I had higher education experience. I worked in the president's office, development, business office. I literally worked in all the offices as an intern, and then eventually got hired as a student staff person.
Okay. And again, Leon, this continues the theme of this is not what you wanted to do with your life.
No, again, I wanted, and I'm going to tell you why I wanted to go into the funeral home business. Across the street from my church was a funeral home, and this funeral home, they were banging. They had business 7 days a week. Remember, South Side of Chicago, early 2000s, they had business all the time, and I was impressed with the service. I was impressed with the pomp and circumstance of helping people and the family cars and the limos. And so one day I just went over there to see what was going on. And the funeral director said, oh, you want to work in this business? And I said, yes, sir. Now, I don't know if this is legal or not, but he says, come in this room. So I came into the room. There was a body in the room. And he was like, you really want to be in this business? Help me dress this body. Help me dress this body.
What did you do?
And I was in shock. I paused, and then I said, okay, I got this. I helped, and he was so impressed that he allowed me to work some of the funerals. And so that's kind of gained my interest when I was in high school, wanting to work at a funeral home, to be able to help people, to provide a service, to do it with excellence, and to look good doing it, knowing that it's a lucrative business. I was sold. And that even goes back to my entrepreneurial spirit. So at Miles, I was always busy. And so I was introduced to a gentleman by the name of Dr. Bernard Williams. He was the director of choirs of Miles College. And he eventually buys his funeral home. He had a funeral home in Calera and a funeral home in Fairfield. And I said, I want to work with you. And so I did such a good job in working with him. I did a number of things at the funeral home. But then we came up with the idea of creating the Men of Westside, where we took students from Miles College, gave them a job, bought them suits, right? Because as students, you need a suit to go for interns, interviews, funeral, court, whatever. You just need that. So we would buy them suits. We would employ them. We would call them the Men of Westside. They would drive family cars, and we would do professional pallbearing services. Now they have gone out to these elaborate showcases, but we were the students or the pallbearers who would put the deceased, the decedent, who were in the casket on our shoulders and kind of carried him down the aisle and do these elaborate performances for the family. It wasn't, anything inappropriate, but it just helped them during their time of grief. And so we called them the Men of Westside. We employed them. So that was another opportunity where even as a student, I was helping my peers. Now,
In leadership capacity.
In leadership capacity.
That's crazy.
And now, again, I wasn't the best student, but they sat me down and was like, hey, You got all these ideas. You're a natural born leader, but your ass needs to focus on your studies.
Yeah.
And so once I got serious about my studies, I ended up graduating from Miles, going to Atlanta to work on my master's degree, and that's where I met my wife, Natalie.
Okay.
We met in seminary,
Yeah.
and then from there, our journey kept going. We moved to Alabama for a year, then we moved to Nashville for 5 years, then we came back to Birmingham to serve in various capacities.
Okay. Man, Leon, like so much there in terms of your academics, and I have a similar approach. Like you can learn a lot in the classroom, but man, it's the life skills,
Mhm.
it's the life lessons that are really going to get you
You know
far.
what? I wish they had credit for prior learning during that time.
Man,
'Cause
for
I'd be
real.
done
You'd
sooner
been
than
Dean's
later.
list, yeah, for real. So, man, and I gotta tell you, man, I admire your tenacity, and talking about Dr. Williams in particular, and him going on to build or start 2 funeral homes. You jumped right in. You were like, hey, this is something I've done. This is something I still have an interest in. And
Yeah.
look what happened. And it's so crazy because I've met so many people who fear that interaction. And it's like, man, just have the conversation. And you never know. And have the conversation with no expectations.
So here's my thing. I'll ask for anything because the least you could tell me is no.
Yes.
I hadn't lost anything. It's just a no.
Yeah.
And then my thing is, if you tell me no, I'm going to find a way for you to say yes. I'm going to find a way.
Just like the podcast.
It's just like it's how I'm built.
Yeah. And just for the record, Leon asked several times to be on the podcast, and I told him about 20 no's, but finally I said yes.
Yeah,
So
he waits until I'm leaving before he says yes. And then I had to call him like, hey, man, you remember you invited me to the podcast? I'm leaving in 2 days.
But that not taking no for an answer, Leon, like that is so valuable. And the class and the intentionality you move with as you do that, man, it's noteworthy. And it's one of many lessons I've learned from you, just observing you from the sideline in the capacity I've known you. So, okay, going back to your timeline. Okay, so you've graduated Miles, you've gone on to seminary, you moved to Birmingham, Nashville, back again. Birmingham keeps calling you, Leon.
Yeah.
So when you got back from Nashville to Birmingham, what happened then?
So Nashville was a dark time for me and my family. I did not like Nashville. But there again, my father in ministry, who ends up becoming a bishop in the CME church, ends up getting sent to Tennessee and Arkansas. That was the area that he covered. And he called me. He was like, I need you to come to Nashville and serve. And I said, okay, I'll do that. And fun fact, Natalie, who is United Methodist, they were pulling us to come to Texas to serve at a church who pastor, husband and wife were there for many years. And as people like to say, it was Beyonce's church. Beyonce is a United Methodist, and they did a lot of work at that church, but they were looking for a couple to lead that congregation, and we were considered. And you want to know what my father in ministry said?
What?
You're not going anywhere. And my wife was on the phone one day and was like, yeah, well, God is calling us here and there. And he was like, you married into this family. So I had to deal with him. I had to deal with her, but we ended up working it out.
Okay.
We trusted God, and we went to Nashville for 5 years. Nashville, I did not like at all. And I'm not going to go any further than that.
Sure. I respect that.
Nashville was a rough time for us. On top of the fact that we were dealing with the pandemic, on top of the fact that we dealt with a hurricane during that time, hurricane, tornado.
I know what you meant. Yeah.
Natural disaster.
Yes.
And one day, the dean of chapel at the time, Larry Beatty, was getting ready to retire, and I knew that I wanted to get to Miles in some capacity. And so he said, invite Bobby Knight to your church. And I invited Bobby Knight to St. Luke CME Church in Nashville. I did not know that her and the chair of the board, Bishop Teresa Snorton, were already having conversations about a young man in Nashville. So I invited her to the church. Her and her team comes. She's the speaker for that Sunday. And after service, she invited me to come back to Miles to serve on her cabinet. to serve as a dean
After that same service she
at the
attended.
same service. And I immediately said yes.
Okay.
The backstory.
Again, Leon.
Watch this. The backstory is my wife had woke up like 2 months ago and she just started buying boxes and packing. And so in my mind, I'm like, what did I do? It's like the relationship good? Like, what's going on? And she said, the Lord spoke to me and was like, hey, start packing. This is 2 months prior to the invitation. She's like, I don't know where we're going. I don't know what we're doing, but I am packing. I kid you not. Boxes were all over the house. I didn't understand it. I didn't want to get involved.
It's 2 months, you said?
This is 2 months before the official invitation comes.
Wow.
And so, when that invitation came, I immediately said yes. Immediately.
Your house was prepared for it. Your family was prepared.
We were prepared.
Wow.
So we get to Birmingham in 2021, and we take off.
Okay, and when you get here in 2021, you're serving as?
So I've served in so many different positions. When I get to Miles in 2021, I am the Dean of Chapel and Assistant Professor of Religion.
Oh, okay. That's a lot.
Then that migrates to the Dean of Students, the Dean of Chapel, and still the Professor of Religion.
How long a time span just
this
between
is
those
like
two?
maybe a year and a half.
Okay.
Then I go to Vice President of Student Affairs and Dean of Chapel. Then the next year, I'm serving all those capacities, and then I become the interim Vice President of Enrollment Management. And then it kind of levels off in these last 2 years where I'm back to being the Vice President of Student Affairs and Dean of Chapel.
Okay.
All of that is heavy, heavy work. And it goes back to something you said. I don't know how I get the energy to do what I do, but I give all credit to God because on top of the fact that I pastor a healthy congregation in Bessemer, Alabama, while doing all of this, being a father, husband, and my wife and I started a business, consulting business in 2018. So managing all of this, I don't know how I get the time and the energy.
Leon.
But it's been a journey.
Yeah. Leon, what keeps you going?
I think what keeps me going is knowing that every time I wake up, I can help someone. And if I can help someone along the way, I know it's an old saying, my living's not in vain. We are pilgrims here. And what we do in this short time matters. How we touch lives, how we meet needs, and how we glorify God. But also how we enjoy life. All those things matter. As Methodists, as a Methodist pastor, we believe in the social gospel, which basically means how you live your life, how your vocation and your calling intersects to make a difference in the lives of people. And that's what I live by.
Wow.
I don't get caught up in religion and all those technical things. How does what God has called me to do and what I do professionally, how does that intersect and touch lives? That's what I live by.
Yeah. That's a word right there, Leon.
Yeah.
Can I dig a little deeper?
Come on, let's go.
In hearing what you said about your grandmother in particular, is there a line of correlation there?
I'm going to say there's a line of correlation between both grandmothers. Both grandmothers, they have this dichotomy, right? My maternal grandmother was a hard worker. She worked for the post office for 40 years and then retired to take care of her grandchildren after raising her own children. Then you have my paternal grandmother, who was this entrepreneur, go-getter, but who also had her story. She literally took care of everybody in her family, particularly when they got ill. She took care of her father, my great-grandfather, when he got ill. She took care of her mother. She took care of her her uncle. She took care of her daughter who died of colon cancer. Like both of my grandmothers are, they're amazing women. They were women that kept their families together, but they also saw something in me and they worked together to push me forward.
Leon, it's a testament to your impact though, because when I've been in rooms where you have not been present and your name has been brought up, it's always a positive energy and it's always it's always like this, man, Leon did this for me, or Leon did this for us, or Leon inspired us to do this. And as I hear you say these lines of correlation, from my vantage point, that's a tight line of correlation, and you're walking in that. So I wanted to really submit that and give you that, just because, man, from the sidelines and knowing how I feel about you, it is an honor to hear your name brought up in
Man,
such
I
a way.
appreciate that. I didn't know my name was being called like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's other stuff, but we're not going to talk about it on the podcast. Okay, Leon, and tell me if this is not okay, but at the time of this recording, you're preparing for yet another transition.
Absolutely.
Can we talk about it or no?
Yeah, we can talk about it. It's
Okay.
out there now.
All right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Then by the time this drops, it'll be out there. But you're right now in preparation to make a move to Bethune-Cookman.
Yes. So my wife and I are transitioning to Bethune-Cookman University here in the next few days. It's a wonderful opportunity. I have a desire to be a college president one day, and I think this is an opportunity for me to go out to get more experience, and to work in a different capacity in higher education, to one day come back and to either serve as a president of Miles College or another historically Black college and university. But my priority is Miles College.
Okay.
I love Miles College.
Yeah, and that is evident. So, can you share a little bit more about how you're going to be serving at Bethune-Cookman?
Absolutely. So I will be serving as Vice President of Student Success, which is the equivalent to Vice President of Student Affairs. There's certain more areas and responsibility that comes to my area. But I always like to share this. Outside of the academic side of the house is the areas that provide student success for students. So that's housing, that's student success, that's all the areas that covers a student being successful in college. And so we're excited to be able to go there. My wife will also be serving there as a contractor, as assistant to the president, but also the director of governmental affairs. And so it's great to have that opportunity to serve under Dr. Albert Mosley, who has just completed his first year at Bethune-Cookman University and has an excellent track record in higher education himself. And we had an opportunity to serve under him when we were in seminary. So things are full circle for us. And, as I tell our Birmingham family, we're there for a good time, not a long time, but, we're here to be impactful leaders as long as God allows us to be there.
Okay. And Leon, I'm gonna thank you for that. I'm gonna transition to this point, but another narrative that I can see so consistently in hearing you talk is your goals may change, but your goals are always in front of you.
Yeah.
And I think with this transition, I think it's very bold that you're on the front end saying, this is an experiential move for me, with the primary goal of returning to Miles College. Can you speak more about that?
Yeah, I don't know how the road is going to take us, but
Okay.
I know deep down inside that I will return to the home of Southern beauty.
Mm.
It's in every fiber of my bones.
Okay.
And what's interesting is that several of my friends, when we were in school, we used to say, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And some of my friends were like, well, we're going to come back and serve in this capacity at Miles. I kid you not. One of my friends and my frat brother, he's now the director of alumni affairs, and he's the director of governmental affairs. I said I was going to be the vice president of student affairs. It's literally a full circle. And I do believe that when you speak those things into existence, they will come. You may not know how they will come, but if you position yourselves and you believe in what you say, vision to see, faith to believe, and the courage to do, they will come to you. I live by it. Vision to see, faith to believe, and the courage to do. And I do believe that God has put me in this space because of my beliefs.
Leon, you don't understand how powerful that is. You're obviously a confident young man. I say young because I'm old. Yeah, your confidence is so. I mean, it's just it's oozing, but it's a healthy confidence.
Yeah,
Where does that come from?
man. I think it goes back to the people who helped raise me. Um, Another venture that
I can't keep
a
count at
labor of
this point,
service
Leon.
is
I
that
can't keep count.
I'm the national president of what's called One Church, One School. It's a community partnership program that was founded in 1992 on the south side of Chicago. You remember that assembly I was telling you about?
Yes.
That was One Church, One School. And so uh, One Church, One School introduced me to the church, but also to the social responsibility of what we have to do as citizens. And so, you know, I had an opportunity to sit at the feet of Jesse Jackson every Saturday at Operation Push. You know, I had an opportunity to see Senator then Barack Obama in his office, and all these opportunities were presented to me. So I think the foundation was the men and the women in Chicago that really poured into me to get me to where I am right now.
Full circle, Leon,
Full
because
circle.
now that you're in these positions, you're pouring into others.
Yeah, I mean, and I know
And it's
I've been,
part of your mission.
yeah, and I know I've been calling all these names, but there are women. It literally was a village. You had Dr. Fredonia Johnson, Linda King, all these men and women who saw something in me. I thought I was just this little boy from the south side of Chicago that just was all over the place, but they were like, "No, we see something in you," and they literally pushed me.
Leon, I'm just gonna speak this, and this is my honest opinion. I believe this, and knowing you, dude, you're gonna be the president of Miles one day. I'm just gonna claim that. I know you can't say much to that. I get it. I'm gonna respect that, but I can speak it. Let me ask you this: What does your potential impact on the legacy of Miles College mean to you?
I mean, it's very, very important. For 129 years, the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church built that institution for African American students to have an education. And I think where we are now, where we see the dismantling of education, the dismantling of um, culture and um, communities, I think now more than ever is a clarion call for me to push and to help others. And I think that Miles College has been that incubator for Fairfield, Birmingham, but even the country. And I think it is my civic duty, after all that it has poured into me, to make sure that that legacy goes forward. I have an opportunity to deal with students from all walks of life. And just for them to know that you care for them, that you see something in them, it makes all the difference in the world. And so for me, that is my mission, to push Miles and even students who just want to have an education wherever I am into that direction, because it made a difference and impact in my life. That makes sense.
It does make sense. That's a great answer. Miles College. What is it that people need to know about Miles, in your opinion, that they may not know?
Miles College is a gym. A lot of people didn't know that Miles College was secretly influential in the civil rights movement here in Birmingham in the 60s. Miles College was one of the places where people could meet and plan and strategize for the civil rights movement. It was one of the places where we held fundraisers. People like Ray Charles and Aretha Franklin, they would come to the campus of Miles College to hold concerts to help fund the civil rights movement. It was the students of Miles College under the SGA president, Mr. Frank Dukes. I'm sure you're familiar with the Dukes family.
Yes.
But he was the SGA president who kind of helped lead in collaboration with Shuttlesworth and other Birmingham civil rights leaders to help catapult the selective buying campaign that caught the attention to Dr. King. Those students and the children's movement and Shuttlesworth and Dukes and the students of Miles College, they caught the eye of Dr. King. Dr. King was not coming to Birmingham. A lot of people don't know that. And so it was that collaboration that caught his eye. and catapulted all of that, him being arrested and writing the letter, the Birmingham jail letter and all those other things. And so, I think that's something that we must constantly put in the forefront, is that Miles College was not just a school for people to go to, but Miles College made a historical impact in this country, in this city, and in the state. But more importantly, it caused other men and women to come to Miles. Like, people don't know, like, most of our African American politicians and state leaders, a great number of them from the 60s to present day, graduated from Miles College, or they graduated from the Miles Law School. Can I call the roll?
You can.
Our frat brother, his Honorable UW Clement,
Yeah.
Miles College graduate. Wandalyn Lee Gavan, graduate of Miles College. So many other influential men and women graduated from Miles College. Even up and coming young people who are in the city of Birmingham working, like James Fields IV.
Yes.
So
You talk
many.
about a rising star.
Deanna D. Reed.
Let's do this.
I mean, I could go on and
Yes,
on and on.
prestigious.
These are
Let's go.
D. Reed, man.
You already know.
Man. So many men and women, not just in Birmingham, but across the country. So Miles College has made an indelible impact across this country. And so for me, I've got to keep that legacy going. And I'm going to do everything that I can to do it as an alum, as a former VP, as a whatever, whatever. Because, you got to speak those things into existence as though they were.
Exactly. And you walking in that. And everybody around you knows that. And I gained an appreciation for that at your appreciation event at the church. And it was just like, it was the elephant in the room that no one was afraid to address.
And what was crazy about it is, I don't go around saying those things.
You don't. That's the beauty of it, Leon.
I don't go around saying, hey, I'm going to do this. I mean, I say, hey, I want to serve in this capacity, whatever that may look like. But it's just, I guess it's on me, as they say.
Yes, it's oozing on you. Leon, as we prepare to close, we've talked a lot about your journey professionally, but we're going to talk about Leon specifically as a father. Mm-hmm. Now, can I give you this?
Sure.
Okay. More flowers, Leon, by the way. I hope you got some soil.
Thank you. I got allergies now.
Man, just again, I haven't known you that long, but the intentionality you lead with as a father and the example you're setting for your son, down to the name, Leon. Yeah. Like, he's my son's age, or they're pretty close. So, like, I don't know if he really appreciates it now, but as we pray for more days for him, I know he will. Mm-hmm. And I could see it from the outside looking in. And when I think about your impact, when I think about what he's going to see in his father, man, I'm telling you, it touches my heart. Leon, can you talk about your son and what he means to you and how he plays a role in your story?
So I did not have a relationship with my biological father. I think our relationship grew significantly as I got older, but more specifically when Leon IV was born. And I wish I had more time, because maybe those 4 or 5 years was something that was special to me. But I said to myself, I'm going to make sure that I do my very best for my son, and that I'm going to expose him to things that my father didn't necessarily expose me to. But the other part of that is I looked at this analogy of a tree. When you look at a tree, you see the trunk, the branches, and the leaves. You never see the roots. You never see the roots. And I just kept playing that in the back of my head. And I shared this, as a matter of fact, on this past Sunday during Father's Day, is that a good family foundation starts with the roots, and that's the father. If you have good roots, you produce healthy trunks, healthy branches, healthy leaves. And so when you water a tree, you don't water the leaves, you water the roots. And so for me, as a root in my own family, I'm like, I've got to do everything that I possibly can to make sure that my offspring, my son, my family is successful, is healthy, although there are going to be challenges and obstacles, but to be able to overcome them because I've had a solid foundation. So that's kind of what I've lived by. To see him at 9 years old with entrepreneur mindset, to see him at 9 years old wanting to help people. Like sometimes I have to say, Leon, you can't give everything away. Like we were helping his family and he was just like unloading his toys, like unloading everything. And I was like, Leon, why are you doing this? He says, because you and mommy do it all the time. And I was just like, it's okay to help people, but you have to make sure, you do it with a healthy balance. But just to be able to have these conversations that I did not have with my father, and he's 9 years old, it gives me joy and it gives me the drive to do more and to make sure that he's exposed to things so that he can have the opportunity to do whatever he wants to do when he gets older.
That's so good, man. Leon, thank you for that, man. Leon, I want to give you an opportunity. If there's something I didn't ask or something that you feel like needs to be added to this, I want to give you that space to do that.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to come on this show. This is something that I've been asking for. No, I was just saying. But no, this is a great opportunity, and timing has its way of doing this thing. But
yes, indeed.
I just want to say to anybody who's watching this, man, shoot your shot. Go for your dreams. Do it unapologetically. Do it to the extent that it doesn't matter if people say no. If you know deep down inside that you have a goal and that you want to accomplish something, do it. Do it until God say, that's not for you, or I'm going to give you the tools, tips, and tricks to get you to where you are. And I guarantee you, the opportunities that lie ahead will come to you. I have never been in a position where I've had to go to things. I've never had a 9-to-5 job. I take that back. I worked at Honey Baked Ham for 3 months. And after that, I said, oh, no. And so.
No. You're not going to leave me there. Tell me about the Honey Baked Ham experience.
Right. Here it goes. So I think I was living outside of my means. I had just bought an Infinity. I called it Midnight Blue. And I needed a job. And so I applied for Honey Baked Ham. I had never worked retail, chain, restaurant. I had never worked. And I got the job, and my job was on the front line. I was in charge of making sandwiches, and then they sent me out to deliver Honey Baked Hams in the rural counties. And I just was driving back one day, and I just said to myself, this is not me. And I just was driving back from Anniston. And I said, Lord, this is not me. Well, like, what are we doing here? And that day, I quit. The next day, I said, I'm going to start something. And I ended up starting a summer camp in Pratt City called Freedom Schools in partnership with the Children's Defense Fund. I had no money, but I was able to convince my peers at Miles College to come work for 8 weeks from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. with over 100 kids in Pratt City. And during those 8 weeks, we had a theme. Each theme was based on I can make a difference. I can make a difference in myself, my family, my community, my country, my world. I can make a difference. And during those 8 weeks, they were pouring out. And so I was just spending time trying to find money to pay them and sustain the program. Mind you, the entire time the program was sustained, we had food, we went on field trips, and I eventually ended up paying them. But for them to trust me as 20-something years old, and we're the same age, we in school with no money, was a testament to My experience in trusting God and building relationships. And, the rest is history. And so from there, I made up in my mind that I would not work a 9-to-5 job. And I know that the Lord would make a way somehow. I didn't know how, but he did. And I was able to pay them their salaries by the end of that summer.
Yeah. Man of your word.
Yeah.
Wow. Leon, one of the many benefits of Off Script is, as I have people on, someone is always inspired to want to reach out. So I got to be intentional about this opportunity. Can you plug yourself? How can someone who wants to learn more about you or the ministries that you lead or that you're involved in, that you're serving, how can they learn more?
So you can follow me on social media, Leon Parker, or you can visit our website, www.parkerministries.com or Civitas Consulting Group.
Okay, cool. Leon, this has been great, man.
Listen, I am so honored to be in this lovely space with you and to share. This has been a dream of mine for the
Leon, don't do this,
last
man.
6 months. Let the record show that I got on this show finally.
Is that really how you gonna end it?
Yeah. And I'll say this, you got Malik on before me.
End it.
No, seriously, thank you so much. I think this show has great impact and mass reach, and it's an honor to be on here.
Thank you, Leon.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you. Thank you all for watching and listening to this episode of Off Script. I don't ask you to subscribe or anything, but I appreciate you taking the time to watch and listen, and feel free to connect with Leon. And lastly, my new ask is, if you know of someone who will be a great candidate to sit across from me on this show, please connect with us, hit us on YouTube, DM us, you know how to get us. So I'm Ronnie Gatrey. This is the Off Script Podcast.